Hello, this is János, it is Real World Audio, and I'm looking at Edward's question. So, Gerard has made a really fantastic table of multiple full range drivers, and Edward was asking which are those drivers that stand out to me uh, in case we are not talking about Legrand loudspeaker, but anything else. So if I would pick some drivers to play around to design a cabinet for them, which one would be my choice? So actually, the Lee Song Fast 10 would be something really interesting for an open baffle. So if I would build an open baffle, and I totally would, uh, this would be like really on top of the list for an open baffle. It's a 10-inch single driver, and that's something new that I'm seeing now. Uh, that there are more and more manufacturers making single drivers that have a big main cone and a smaller, and of course the whizzer cone. That's something that's quite fascinating, and I would love to try if I had one more room or maybe a house to place them. So the main thing holding me back is lack of space, because even though, as all of you have seen, I have lots of loudspeaker projects and loudspeakers and everything, but what I have not really emphasized until now is that I don't make a single loudspeaker project for scraps. So so I don't do anything just for a fad, just to try it out and then just toss something on the curb, like one of the my other existing speakers that I have. So I'm keeping well, I'm not saying I'm keeping all of them, but what I'm saying that I don't design and build speakers just so that I can try something out and then just move on. So if I build something and then I built it in the past, I always build all of my loudspeakers for keepers, and I have them all and I listen to them all. And that's my thought process, that's my design process. If I I don't find something that I can keep for life, I don't build it. And for now, I'm totally maxed out with loudspeakers, so I don't think I will be building a new loudspeaker anymore unless I can buy a new house, a second house or something like that. Or, uh, but that danger is not looming over me at the moment. Well, you know, well, anyway, so no such dangers for now. What really I could do, maybe if I would be building speakers, if I build one or design one for one of my friends, but not for myself. So anyway, if I would be building, probably this would be it from this list, because that would be an open baffle. I really love open baffles, and at this moment I don't have any of them. So and I really love that type of sound, that kind of sound that they are able to produce, and this has a really high, nice sensitivity as well. Plus the large diameter that gives you that amazing mid bass, that richness, that fullness of sound, and not just talking about mid bass as a separate entity, but like a strong, rich foundation for the music. So it's not that nasal, skinny nightmare that we get with most of the current hype that we have for audiophile sound. So uh, that's a long winding talk and subject, but what is the sound of the day? But I don't like the narrow buffers that are just super narrow. Yes, in a way they give you that amazing imaging, and that's fun, that's great. I also love that as an option to listen to it from time to time, but that nasal nature that comes with it, that artifice in comparison to the wide front baffles, I'm not ready to cope with that on the long term. So going back to the right of the list, of course you know about the Cube Audio driver. This is the one that I have and that I use, and it's an absolutely astonishing driver. And although I have not heard all of these drivers, but so what I can, well, predict or suggest, um, is that this is the driver where you don't hear the whizzer cone. So for those people who are staying away from single drivers because of the type of artifact that a whizzer cone gives to the sound, for you I recommend the Cube Audio, because it doesn't have any of that artifacts that people associate with the whizzer cone. This is the whizzer cone, the thing in the center. And where did that originate? That originated with the loader, this company who was actually the one who invented the this type of loudspeaker design, I would say driver design, so that you have a main cone and a whizzer cone. So that was Paul Voigt who designed the Voigt type, and actually he not just designed the Voigt type, but he also invented the driver to drive it. So these drivers with the whizzer cone were invented by Paul Voigt, and also a cabinet for them to work with. So in case you are wondering whether the Voigt pipe and single driver is a good match, well, they were created together with a with a singular purpose, with a unity between the two. And actually it was Paul Voigt who teamed up with Peter Loader, and Paul Voigt did the design of the loaders. So maybe Peter Loader was taking part of it as well, but to my knowledge, what I have read about history, loudspeaker design history, it was Paul Voigt who took a really big part in designing these high motor strength drivers. And I heard several of these louders, and they are an absolute thrill to listen to. And if you want like a race car experience, that the analogy of driving a race car to listening to music, the louders can give you just an absolute thrill to listen to. But it will be really up to the implementation, because you have this absolute race car type of feel when you listen to the Radams speakers. It's just like an absolute palpable holographic spooky quality to it, and such sudden jumps in dynamics and in sound that you really get scared. So like I was listening to Jose Carrera singing, and when he just started singing his aria, then I really jumped out of the couch. I was listening to it, and that was kind of the only time that ever happened when I'm listening to anything that it just stunned me so much. Like it felt like it was a physical attack. And uh, and of course, that's not something that you are able to do, to have that kind of intensity. You just can't listen to it day in, day out. And it also part of it that it exaggerates the mid band, the top of the mid band, and it's fatiguing on the long term. So it's not, I would say, when one wants to have fun with louders, it's good as a B speaker. So it's not like your daily diet, like something steady, like let's say the Cube Audio from here or the Sonido that you can listen to. Um, I have no personal experience yet with Lee audios. I can just rely on others' experiences. Supravox is also really fantastic. Like you could listen to it like as your main speaker. Voxative, I'm curious about them. They have fantastic build. Um, Lots of ideas going into them, but I never heard them live. But I'm really curious about these as well. However, going back to the louders, uh, a lot depends on the implementation. So it can be like that scary spooky ride like the Redons, but it can be almost, I would say, not the opposite, but in the Edgar horns. So Bruce Edgar did a design for louder PM6A, a rear-loaded horn, and he did not make that commercial. There were only 2 units ever made that he made of that, and he made one of them for my friend Charlie, and that was one of the most astonishing, amazing loudspeakers I ever heard. So like and 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 it there you did not hear any kind of whizzer cone issues that are plaguing the louders. So that was pretty much the only time I heard a louder speaker not having cone issues. But talking about those whizzer cone issues, I would say in almost every case the issue is not with the whizzer cone. The issue is that the single drivers report on your amplifier, report on your sources to an extreme degree in the mid-range, and when you have a system that was not optimized for mid-range, then when you hit that mix with a single driver, then you will find nasties coming up. And it's not because the single drivers have nasties or the whizzer cones have massive distortion, but that's because you are hearing it first time how it is your system when there's no crossover between your mid-range driver and your amplifier. So when you have like a three-way unit and you think it has like excellent mid-range, possibly it can have excellent mid-range. I have no trouble seeing that. But when you take away the crossover that negotiates between them, then you gain an additional level of talking to the amplifier. And some would say that, okay, I use DSP. But even if you use DSP, then there's still the DSP negotiating things, and you are breaking apart the frequency between multiple units. So there is still a crossover there, creating phase problems, and you are pulling apart the source of the sound to multiple drivers, multiple locations. So that's going to bring you certain problems that yes, you can optimize it for a sweet spot, but if you move away from the sweet spot, you are going to experience, even if you just go up or slouch down in your sweet spot, it's going to affect you when you have multiple drivers creating the sound. So with the full range drivers, it's just all coming from a single point in space, even though there's a whizzer cone, but the acoustic center of the whizzer cone and the acoustic center of the main cone is the same spot, same physical spot. So all the sound waves originate from the same source. And if you take care of your system, then you can have like a extremely clear mid-range experience. and actually if that's why like I recommend it for every serious audiophile. If you already have like 10 speakers, 10 pairs, and maybe all of them are three ways because you love three ways, I would still recommend for you to have at least one single driver loudspeaker that you use to tune your mid-range abilities of the rest of your system. And if you can make your system so it sounds great with the full range driver, then it will sound also quite a bit better with your multi drivers as well. And so so loudspeakers have more uses than we think, and we can use certain technologies, different technologies to optimize aspects in our speaker to find out, ferret out problems that we don't know about, and and this is one way. And for example, using louders would be perfect for that because they have the most ability to have problems because in the case the I would say the whizzer cone is the not as well integrated with the main cone as for others. For Cube Audio, they have the best integration of the whizzer cone to the main cone, and that also means that they have like a really smooth frequency range as well. But what does that even mean? I don't know, because any other single driver, you can make it to sound really smooth and natural, and um, wow. But anyway, one thing is true, that the Cube Audio driver is super duper special. It's really amazingly done, and in the past I was thinking to pick like as the highest level version or louder, but then it's like really becomes a really hard proposition to integrate the to get rid of the louder shout, and but the Cube Audio has no shout at all, zero shout. Um, so I think that that's it for now. Oh, I haven't mentioned if I would build any kind of speakers, the Supravoxes would be something. I've been really wondering about them. Probably the bigger one. Yes, they've definitely been on my list. If I were to build like a Cosmo object, a loudspeaker, they would be definitely there. And even though it's not the most expensive of them all, but still they are not cheap drivers. So really cost is an object, but I would say of all most of these, with the exception of perhaps the Sonido and the small Lee Audio. Well, this is kind of like the Sonido is the only one that has like a really acceptable cost here, and I think it's at least as capable of any of the drivers we see here, and I am 100% sure I can recommend this as a loudspeaker that you can use as your last loudspeaker, you know, that that for life type of thing. Cube Audio is as well, and I think the Supravoxes are in that category as well. I don't have any feedback on Voxative to be able to tell how it sounds on the long term, or what kind of synergy it has with equipment. And I don't have that kind of experience with Lee Audio as well. But yeah, but I think that's my recommendation on these drivers here. So thank you, Eduard, for asking it, and I hope I gave ideas to people what to do. And thank you, Gerald, for putting this wonderful list together and sharing it with us. And have a wonderful day. Bye bye.